Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this latest edition of Tales from Outer Space, where I take stories from across the internet and read them for your entertainment. This particular story is called How Praxxtyl the Victorious Lost, written by Farmwhich4275. Praxxtyl the Victorious is a very strange creature. A genius, a strategist, a monster, depending on who you ask, in what context. To most, he is the galaxy's first contact ambassador, a living legend who has been directly responsible for expanding both Eth Galaxy and the Empire as a whole. To the general public, he is Praxxtyl the Victorious, knower of all things knowable, co-founder of the Unconfoundable, the great hero of the Sicarian Blitz. To the general public, he is a hero, and he is trusted with the job of finding new races to fill the Empire's ranks. A man who is never lost, hence the name. To any who actually know him, he is an irritating twit with a superiority complex and an ego that outsizes most gas giants. Nobody says it to his face, of course, but the man does have a strange gift with the gab, an enigmatic mind that seems to defy the laws of enigma. He can lie his way out of a maximum security prison and lie his way back into king's bedchambers to walk away with all the queen's jewels. He can coerce an insect into refusing to eat until it starves, and convince a fish that being cooked and eaten is a good idea. His mind games and steady proxy conversations, even on his opponent's terms, usually come out with him as a victor. All a distraction, of course. The Imperial fleet would use the opportunity to wander in the back way and prepare for violence and intimidation. Our numbers and wrath would usually bear similar results if he didn't somehow crap them into surrendering, like he usually did. Something about this time felt off. Strange creatures, these humans, oddly compelling ape-like omnivores, looking pretty hardy for bipeds. This one was male, a very bulky one. We had made contact eagerly, and one was now on a vidscreen glaring at Praxxtyl with an air of mild irritation, as if he had something more important to do. Can't say I blamed him, honestly.
So human. You seem like a hardy people, a good people. I can guarantee that submission to the Empire would—
No, the human said, interrupting Praxxtyl's well-practiced speech. Praxxtyl simply smiled and laughed, his usual sinister, intimidating smile.
Oh, that's what they all said. Our Empire spans half the galaxy with that same word one way or another. The Bakandi said no. The Skokovial said no. The Thrax said no. You will end up the same way they all did, he boasted proudly.
I said no, the human simply replied, with a coldness I'd never heard before.
You irritate me, whelp. You vex me greatly. Can we not just do this the easy way for once? Would it be so hard just to say yes and join us than it would be to suffer meaningless death at the Empire's hands? Come on, humans. Clearly you're intelligent. And see the folly, Praxxtyl barked. I see the reserve fleet that you have approaching from the sun. Unfortunately for them, that place has impet mines. If I were you, I would get those boys out of there before they trip over the wire and get a claymore charge to the face. The human replied again. It possessed a coldness that had never heard before. Something here was wrong. Different. I pounced and checked my fleet comms. Their sensors were picking up something. By the time I ordered a sweep, followed by a hasty retreat, several ships suffered some structural damage from explosive charges that magnetized to their hulls. I ordered a retreat, and for them to rejoin the main formation, sparing any damaged ships. Praxxtyl jumped on this event with fervor. It seems we have failed to fall for your trap, human. You value your boasting too much. You gave us an out.
No, not really. I just need that minefield for something more dangerous than you. Pain in the ass to replace those things. More than you are worth. The human shrugged, staring straight at Praxxtyl's soul as he said that.
No matter. We have millions of ships. You are no trouble at all. Surrender sooner rather than later, human. You test my patience,
Praxxtyl barked back. The human raised a brow and glared at Praxxtyl with a kind of madness that made my bones shiver. We faced worse than you and made it out alive. You aren't different from the other 20-something empires that have wandered in and spat out their noise hole at us. Frankly, I would rather you go back to whatever hole you came from and minded your own business. We are busy here, and we don't want any unnecessary waste of life. Praxxtyl maintained his dignity, gained an even harder smirk of superiority.
A waste of life would be us swiping your species off the galactic map in the Empire's name.
So says the guy whose ships are twice as slow and half the size. Let's see how you actually work, he said, and pushed a button on his console. My lord, multiple Dreadnought-class warp signatures detected, my ensign yelled from his console. And sure enough, the pointy, angular visages of a dozen Dreadnought-class warships and their support fleet suddenly broke through the fabric of reality and made themselves known. A few of my officers audibly gasped at the sight of this massive beasts, and some 20 smaller but still heavily armed warships. Hint! Those aren't dreadnoughts. They're cruisers. Now, leave. We have other things to consider besides your warmongering, the human barked. Praxxtyl once again remained undaunted.
How nice of you to show your assets to the galaxy so soon.
This ain't showing my hand, jackass. This is the calm before the storm. This is the carrot on the end of a stick. Now, buzz off, the human replied.
So eager to see us off, how odd. Fear the Empire, might do we? They all do. But I see that you're a man of great strength. Perhaps a test of the mind instead,
Praxxtyl asked boastfully, pounding his chest. The human's tone shifted, mockingly copying Praxxtyl's tone and accent. Suddenly, the bloviating ends and the threats of violence dissipate, clouded in rhetoric and deflection. Methinks the boastful one sees he will not survive this engagement, rather the Empire or not. Mayhap the fair child would wonder if a trick of mind or gift of the gab would distract while a message is sent. Okay then, shorty, spit it out. Mind game, let's go. For the first time since I've known him, Praxxtyl became flustered and short of patience. Was this what I was so concerned about? Was this the foreboding I was thinking of?
You test my patience, but fine. Let us do it your way. I'll let you decide the terms then, since you seem so confident, Praxxtyl said, quickly regaining his composure.
For good reason. Your name again for the record? I kind of forgot. Didn't know it was important. Didn't care, the human replied with a subtle smile. My name is Praxxtyl Victorious. I am he who never loses. I am the word of the Empire. Lower your damn voice, please. Jeez. Worse than a politician with a scandal. So, we're going to play a game, okay? If I win, you leave. If I lose, you do whatever you do, I guess. I don't know. Can't surrender. I ain't my call. But maybe you can help yourself to the mess hall, the human replied with a shrug.
I shall dictate the terms of this system surrender. When I have won our duel, human, Praxxtyl barked angrily.
Oh, my God, the ego of this guy. Again, it ain't my call. I can't surrender. I'm not high up enough in the ladder to make that decision. But you win. I can put you in touch with those that do. They might be more reasonable, the human just shrugged.
Then let us play a mind game. You first, Praxxtyl said.
I could see the smirk on his face building. Okay, then, the human smiled and leaned into the camera. The game! We glared at him. What? We just lost. The game is over, and we just lost. Twice, he replied, smiling.
How can I lose the game? You haven't explained the rules, Praxxtyl barked.
Rule number 1. Everyone everywhere knows about the game. It's actively playing it at all times without question. You cannot opt out or stop playing. Once you know, you cannot unknow. It's like a secret of the universe, screaming from the abyss straight into your soul. You just lost the game again, the human said, the smirk on his face getting larger. Praxxtyl glared at the human and visibly fumed. Now you look here, human. Rule number 2. If you think about it, you lose. Every time you think of the game, or are reminded of the game, you lose the game. Like death, life, the meaning of the universe. It's like the secret of the gods forgot to forget. They too lost the game, the human said, his face now contorted into one of the most sadistic smiles I've ever seen.
How can the gods lose the game? Praxxtyl asked, looking almost lost.
Rule number 3. Whenever you lose the game, which we did, we must announce it. If you fail to announce it, you lose twice. You have to share the misery. That's the rule. I just lost the game too. I announced it. You didn't, so I didn't lose as much as you did just then. We both still lost, but I didn't lose as bad as you, the human said with the smuggest expression ever. And thus came the moment when Praxxtyl the Victorious' smile faltered and resolve crumbled. What kind of idiot creates something he can't win? We didn't create the game. The universe did. It's like the equivalent of the existential crisis. It's like asking, is there a God?
while talking to God. And then that God saying, there is no God, or something. I don't really know. There is no real answer, but that's the one I prefer.
The human said with a shrug.
I don't like the game, Praxxtyl said sadly. Too bad. I don't either. Ignorance is bliss, after all. Once you know about the game, you're stuck playing it for the rest of your life, want it or not. You can't opt out, you can't stop playing. Once you know forever, and you can't unknow. And every time you're reminded of the game, you lose it. That's just how it works.
He replied coldly.
How can I win? Praxxtyl asked. You can't. That's the rule of the game. You can't unplay. The game, when you start, is impossible.
The human said.
Wait. You lost the game too, Praxxtyl said, perking up slightly. Yes, I know I lost the game. And again, not as much as you, because I acknowledged it. You didn't, so you lost twice every time I lost once. Think, I kind of lost count,
the human replied, again shrugging like this was entirely normal. Praxxtyl stood there in shocked silence for a few moments, his face going through varying emotions from shock to rage to fear to sorrow. He stood there, just staring at the human.
How do I win? You can't. That's the rule.
Praxxtyl stood still, then collapsed onto the floor weeping like a child that had lost his favorite toy.
I can't lose. I'll never lose. And there it is.
The human rolled his eyes and watched.
Every damn time.
It was now I decided to interject. Pardon me, but this sounds rather ridiculous, even by the standards of the galaxy as a whole. Is there any way around this? I asked pleadingly.
Who's asking?
The human asked with a furrowed brow. The guy who was going to have to deal with this tantrum for the next few decades. Please calm him down, I said, again giving my best pleading and begging face. He looked at me and sighed.
There is no way to win, but there is a way not to lose, he said.
Please go on. For the love of all that's sacred, please go on, I said, yelling above the sound of the wailing.
Best way to avoid losing the game like you just did, do something else. The more you are doing something else, you don't think of the game. If you don't think about it or remind yourself of it, you can't lose. There is no win state, but you can make it so that there is no lose state. Simple as, he replied calmly.
Seriously?
Yep. I can't say much else. Can you go away now, do something else, and you won't get reminded of the game. See, we both lost again, the human said.
Praxxtyl wailed again and rolled my eye stalks over to the previous provocation. Why are you so earnest in making us leave, human?
Besides the whole this is my home, get out bit, we are actively at war with a creature called the Sun-Eater. It's a massive Leviathan-class entity, that is, consuming stellar matter and collapsing star systems. So we set a trap in this very system to try and finish it off, he said.
Praxxtyl and the whole crew stopped what they were doing and snapped to attention at the statement. That seems like pertinent information, I said.
The human glared at Praxxtyl and smiled. Well, I couldn't get a word in, could I, with the sound of this dude's ego scraping against the walls. If I were you, I'd start prepping for FTL now. Spill up your drives and exit stage left sharpish. Fifth fleet is almost here.
Did he say Sun-Eater? Nobody could respond, as the ensign's console lit up with amassed energy readings. Unknown entity appearing FTL wormhole breach. Energy signature is off the charts, he yelled.
Yeah, that'll be the Sun-Eater. Please leave, unless you want to bring your laser cannons to bear against it. I would suggest to hightail it out of here, he said.
Full retreat! All ships return to dry dock, I yelled into our fleet comms. As the fleet began to fall back and our drives charged, the human fleet entered the system. Praxxtyl and I shared the same expression of shocked horror when we saw the some 200 ships of dreadnoughts, Titan and Juggernaut-class swarm the system with weapons that could easily wipe out a dozen Imperial fleets several times over. We shared a glance and noted how we may have lost the mind game, but at least we didn't lose to that damn warship fleet. We took some pictures and recorded what recon data we could. Eventually we went to the edge of the star system, and our detectors overloaded at the massive wormhole-like creature known as the Sun-Eater appeared in the system, immediately bombarded by a hail of cannon fire from the human fleet. We watched and recorded the barrage. Ensign, prepare for full report. Praxxtyl and I need to talk. Seems these humans are coincidentally more dangerous than anticipated, and we may need to stop at a diplomatic incident. The humans seem to find it funny, though, so, we may take that under advisement and make a joke out of it. I don't know about anyone here, but I do not want to fight a war against an empire that uses ships like that. Get us out of here, I said. I got a resounding nod of approval and agreement, and we left the system. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank our Tier 5 channel members, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Manatharia, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.